I wonder if he'll run as a Democrat or an independent.
Never know. Might be a Republican.
Please. Kind of self-respecting black man will run as a Republican. Name one thing the Republican Party has done for black people. One!
Well, they were the party of Lincoln. They stood against the tyranny of oppression by leading the call for the Civil War and forced passage of the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the slaves.
I named two things lately.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what party he's with.
Hey, welcome to Dino Reacts. We are continuing on with our journeys of understanding the differences between the Democrats and Republicans. I have a new video right now that is more of a artistic one, but it's still gonna help me figure things out. So as always, let's get after it.
Let's be honest, you definitely have noticed the election is plastered absolutely everywhere. Whether you are closely following the election or are forced to see it every day in the news, you would have surely heard the words Republican, GOP, Grand Old Party, or the other major political party, the Democrats or the Democratic Party. Whether or not you live in the United States of America or live outside it, you may not fully understand what the difference really is between the Republican and Democrat parties' ideologies and what they really stand for. The Republican and Democratic parties are currently the two most popular, powerful, and prominent political parties in the United States, with the history of the Democratic Party starting in 1828 as anti-federalist factions began to form. The Republican Party formed a few decades later in 1854, with the formation of the party based on stopping slavery, as they viewed it to be unconstitutional. At the most basic and plainest, politics is said to be split in half, with political parties either traditionally having left or right-wing political views. The left wing is usually associated with progressiveness, supporting those who aren't able to support themselves and believe in equality. On the other hand, the right wing values tradition, believes in equity, economic freedom, and that the everyday individual shouldn't really have to pay for someone else's house service or education through taxes, for example. Essentially, a survival of the fittest society. On the political spectrum, the Democrats and Republicans tend to have opposing positions on matters such as the economy, society, military, and other key issues. Both political parties are so large now that it is quite hard to work out where their positions are on certain issues. But there are a few key issues where the opinions are quite apparent. But even then, candidates within the same political party can have slightly differing views on major issues which affect us all. Taxation. When it comes to taxation and wages, the Republican Party believe that high taxes on the rich is a form of class warfare, and that both the poor and the rich should receive tax cuts. As the Republican Party's plans would see the revenue which the federal government collects decrease, the results would be higher debt and deficits. By lowering the taxes for the upper class, these people are more likely to invest in businesses, which in turn creates jobs, making a trickle-down effect. Republicans also oppose raising the minimum wage as it believes it hurts small businesses, who account for a large amount of employment for Americans.
Speaking on that raising the minimum wage, Governor Gavin Newsom here in California just did that. And you know what that did? In-N-Out, Chipotle, Walgreens, Ralph's, and a lot of convenience stores and major brands closed. They closed because they couldn't afford the price hikes with current inflation here in the state and current taxation. They closed more stores. So while a lot of people here were up in like hallelujah happy for the minimum wage hike here, it closed business. Now all these people don't have jobs, in turn creating what? More people in the government system, more people voting Democrat. It's crazy. They do not want free business here. They want everybody to have to eat after Democrats. And that way they keep you thinking the same way. They keep you voting with your emotions, and it keeps, now that these jobs are leaving, the employees are saying they don't have to quit. But that's because none of them understand business, and they keep you that way. They don't want you understanding business. They want you to depend on them to tell you everything you need to know and give you somebody to continually blame. And that's why one of the reasons why, not just one of the reasons why me moving to being conservative was important, because now that I understand business and I want to be a creator of jobs. I don't want the government telling me how to create jobs, how much I have to pay my employees. I should be able to dictate that myself. And also, we create jobs for people that need them. They don't get to tell me how much I get to pay them. That's not fair. But let's continue.
Democrats, on the other hand, believe in raising taxes for the upper class and lowering taxes for the middle and lower classes of society, allowing the government to boost their spendings on social programs for the lower class. Simply put, Republicans lower tax to benefit the wealthy and big businesses, whereas the Democrats support progressive taxes to help fund social programs and to help out lower-income citizens. Gun laws. An issue which divides many Americans also divides Republicans and Democrats. Democrats favor more gun control, but recognize that the Second Amendment is an important part of American tradition, and that the right to own and use firearms should be preserved. Reinstating the assault weapon ban and working to make the background check system stronger so that guns aren't getting into the hands of the irresponsible are high up the agenda for the Democrats. The Republicans, on the other hand, oppose gun control laws and go as far to say that they believe you should be able to obtain and store ammunition without registration, and they support the right to self-defense.
I'm 100% for everybody should be able to own a gun, no matter who you are. You have the right to defend yourself, and you defend yourself from the government. The government will come after you. Understand? That is the number one historical thing that's happened throughout history. If you take away a person's ability to defend themselves, then the people that have the guns will control you. So the Second Amendment right was perfect. And it continue to be that. Give us the right to own whatever we need to protect us from the forces that want to tell me how to think, how to live, and what to eat. They don't get that right. I should be able to tell them to fuck off. Excuse my language. Sorry. Continue.
ID laws. The Republican Party is currently pushing for elections to require photo identification for voting to, in their words, prevent election fraud.
Yes.
Between 2000 and 2012, there were 867 cases of voter fraud, but the Republicans want this to be zero. The Democrat Party are complete opposites on voter identification laws, saying that they believe everyone has the right to vote.
Everybody does not have the right to vote. You have to be a citizen to vote. Everyone has the right to vote. Is why they're flooding the country with illegal immigrants, because they want to change voting districts. They want to have more congressional seats, and they want to make sure that they're the party that says, we let you in, you have to vote our way. They do not do anything that comes to affecting the hearts and minds of people. They try to play them as pawns. And you should be an American citizen to vote. And requesting an ID is not racist, because you need an ID for everything, to drive, to rent, to everything. Everything in this country requires an ID. To get a job, everything. So why the most important thing, which is voting in the people that are going to determine how you are living, how you are taxing your Medicaid, why don't you need an ID for that? Makes no sense at all. There's always a game to be played here, and they're not playing honestly. And I'm talking about the Democrats.
Making them in opposition of laws which begin to put restrictions on those trying to vote. According to the Democrats, introducing photo identification would affect young voters, people of colour, low-income families, those with disabilities, and the elderly, which is a large number of voters who wouldn't be able to vote and have their opinion heard. Pro-life versus choice. As I'm sure you can begin to tell, the Republican Party is very much influenced through religion and tradition, which should make it no surprise that they support the government restricting abortions. The Republicans believe that unborn children should have the fundamental right to live, which cannot be taken away from them. The Democrats, on the other hand, support Roe v. Wade and believe that a woman should have the right to make her own decisions about her pregnancy, and that politicians and the government have no right to get involved with a woman's pregnancy. The Democrat Party also wants to help reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies through better sex.
All right, let's speak on that a little bit. I agree with the overall view that a woman should have autonomy to their body, but what they never consider is the emotions of fathers. There are too many fathers in this world that have been heartbroken when the woman decides to abort a child that they wanted. And yes, the woman can do what she wants, but that type of power cannot be solely left to the woman when it comes to them taking the finances from a man. And this is coming from a guy that's on child support. That is incredible. I get no rights, none whatsoever. So there has to be some type of middle ground there, and the middle ground should be simple. You want to have the kid, you pay for him. You don't want to have the kid, that's on you. But if you want the right to abortion, then the father has the right not to pay. So that has to be talked about. And there's a lot more religious understandings that go into why conservatives view that way, but we're not going to try to be that biased at this point in time. But there is a case there. Self-responsibility should just fall on one person if you want this situation to be fair on both sides.
Education, which should then help decrease the need for abortions. STD rates are hitting all-time highs in the USA, so putting work into sex education is something which the Democrats believe will benefit society greatly.
Democrats' version of sex education is, from what I can see, It's just an unlimited amount of perversion, a free for all in sex. Do what you want and then take away the responsibility and then put it off on someone else. Be sexually irresponsible and put it off on. That's their message. They're not giving proper sexual education. They're encouraging people to be sexually promiscuous, to openly sell themselves sexually on the internet, and to destroy the family union openly. Promiscuity, cheating, all of that completely endorsed by Democrats. There is no type of restrictions at all, to the point now where they don't even understand gender anymore. So I do not agree with this point at all. They do not put any money into sexual education. Not any. They put money into sexual liberation. And that is not right.
Sex marriages. Being very traditional and religious based, the Republican Party wants to not recognize same-sex relationships, with the party aiming to constitutionally define marriage as one man and one woman. The Republicans also have the viewpoint that same-sex couples should not be able to adopt children. The Democrats oppose same-sex discrimination on the federal and state level and believe that same-sex couples should...
That is not true at all, brother. There may be certain sects of Republicans and conservatives that believe that, but it's on whole, we don't. We want you to leave our children alone. That's pretty much it. Yes, there's a lot of children who adopt and do that. Children ending up in a home with people that care for them is a beautiful thing. But when it comes to you trying to indoctrinate our children and telling them to participate in your perversions and conversions of this sexual understanding, that is completely wrong. The fact that you don't want our religion in schools, but you can have pride in schools, is 100% wrong. So I do not agree with that at all. We do not want that. We want the autonomy to raise people the way we want to, just as much as you want that same autonomy. But you have to always remember one thing: the union of a woman and a man and man does not create a child. The only way to get one is from the union of heterosexual relationships. That's one of the main reasons why Republicans say it should be between a marriage should be between a man and a woman, because that is the only natural way to bring forth a fruitful child. You have to take from somebody else or convert somebody else, natural heterosexuals, into your perversion. But that conversation doesn't want to be had by Democrats. They want to say that there is their right, and you do not have the right to nobody else's child, or to the right to influence, groom, or pander to another person's child, because that just leads to devilish actions. But as we all know, a lot of Democrats do not believe in religion because they don't want to be adherent to the laws of Jesus Christ, and understanding that they're committing deeds that completely are entrenched in devilish action in the life of Satan. They don't want to be a part. They don't want to have to come to that type of shame. They want a free for all to do whatever they want, and therefore on their side you get the perverts, the Epstein Islands, and the weirdos. It's insane. And now these people have power. We're in trouble.
Receive the same amount of respect and legal treatment as heterosexual couples. In fact, it was under the Democratic Obama administration that Section 3 of the Defense of Marriage Act, which defined marriage as a union between a man and a woman, was found to be unconstitutional, a decision which was ruled by the Supreme Court on June 26, 2013. Limit of government. Republicans have positioned themselves into believing that a smaller government is better, with Republicans preferring themselves to have less responsibilities in society, and that they should let people and companies fail or succeed based on their merits and actions,
Yes.
instead of the government intruding.
Yes, firm believer in a meritocracy. You know what I'm saying? I've had the ridiculousness of telling people tell me I am a minority hire, that I didn't get hired because of my own hard work. And I don't believe that. I will outwork anybody in my profession. I'm a chef. It doesn't matter who you are. I will go in there and get after it. But this whole affirmative action things and people not getting hired by their merit and just by their race is BS to me. And to me personally, if you believe in that, then you're just adding on to the problem of not giving the individual's character, which was always the dream going through civil rights up today, was supposed to be where we're at. But now you're turning back the clock to always make things about race. You got to have this amount of people of certain type of color or gender into a position instead of having the best people. And because of that, we can see why so many systems are failing, why America is going downhill, why everybody is lost. And the divide is just getting bigger and bigger between the thought process of those that believe in fiscal responsibility and those believe that the government should come in there and help them. This is crazy. Continue.
The The Republican Party don't like policies which essentially allow the government to have the power to pick and choose the winners and losers of the market, instead letting economies and businesses speak for themselves. The Democrats, on the other hand, believe that the federal government should have a strong role in helping Americans with the challenges they face, whether it be through regulating businesses, being more involved with healthcare, benefits, or other programs which help assist Americans in need. This sees Republicans usually called supporters of a small government and the Democrats supporters of a big government, although the Republican Party can sometimes have big government stances on some issues, such as abortion issues, but the Republican Party establishment...
That is not right. That is not true. The government does not have a big government issue on that. They took it out of the federal government. That's minimalizing and taking it back into small governments, the states. There are certain states that believe in abortion. There are certain states that don't, and their populace governs that choice. So getting rid of Roe v. Wade on a governmental scale did not stop most states. Like, I got into an argument with an ex-girlfriend of mine because of my stance on Roe versus Wade. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But I'm not going to take away a person's right to be able to. And I fully believe in other states' rights to say that we do not want to support it. And she cannot understand how I believe that. I was like, no. And I could understand why she complaining. We both live in California. Go get as many abortions out here. They probably abort more babies in California than 48 states combined. I'm not counting New York. But she couldn't get that stand. She's like, oh, they're taking away. They're not taking away nothing. In the states that don't want it, their populace has voted that they don't want it. That's fair. They can do that. And the states that do want it, like California, you do. Go get it all day. Even though I disagree with it, I still agree with the right for the people to decide. That's what the constitutional republic system that we have believes in. I could vote for something and the majority could be against me, and I'll be like, okay, the majority wins, even though I disagree with it. That's fair.
To have small government viewpoints when it comes to economics and society. All in all, the Democrat and Republican parties are quite different when it comes to key points. But this is what happens when you find yourself in a two-party political system, as it would not make sense for there to be two similar parties fighting for the same issues with the same stances.
Okay. Ooh, I can understand. This was a little bit more liberal-leaning understanding, but I'm getting it. Hey, that video was a little bit more like informative on showing the differences, but I don't like how it always tries to make it seem like the conservatives are one against free rights. No, we are for free rights, for the individual. It looks like the Democrats want free rights to tell you what to think, while conservatives want the free rights to think for ourselves. And in that case, just based upon how this played out, the differences, I'm 100% going to be conservative for the rest of my life. Understand? I don't want to pay more taxes. I don't want the government in my life, and I want to think the way I think. I want people with stronger character. That way they don't get offended over words and people's opposition to their feelings. I'm a firm believer in religion because only under God do you find a peace of mind to understand the kindness to be good to your neighbors. You may not always agree on things, but you have the sensibility to be like, you know what? You have your right to what you believe. But on the Democrat side, they get very pissy and angry when they find somebody that doesn't agree with it, to the point you're like, you're one of those. What is that supposed to mean? I'm a free thinker, and that is it. Well, as we continue down this understanding, I'm learning more and more why, like, I've chosen to be conservative. Let's keep this going. And for those of you that have went down the same path with me, keep on this journey with me. It's not always easy. Ooh, here we go again. Thank you guys again for watching Dino Reacts. And as always, if you like my content, like, comment, and subscribe. And always, chef's kiss. Mwah.